stress. I want you try surviving on the public base, then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how we will set up. The people fed up. They done drive no fair with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment, and you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how we will set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clout. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Baratans too. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how we will set up. The people fed up. I done fed up on the dirty water, low pressure, want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1500 US, and they're telling we super salary. I done fed up on the unemployment racism and the lie they say one Guyana. Cause when you look with the oil money going, circulate with one set of banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how we will set up. The people fed up.
A pleasant good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. On this beautiful Saturday, the 28th and final day of February. Yes, today, Saturday, the 28th day and final day of Black History Month, which is also the month of February. Welcome, welcome to tonight's broadcast, one and all. The broader Caribbean, North America, all right, Europe, welcome, welcome one and all to this evening's broadcast of Over to You, a program for the people, by the people. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is your program. Please go ahead, like the program, share the link, like the program, share the link. It is now 7:15. I could tell you in advance that we will be here till approximately 8:15 this evening, and I would like also to let you guys know, please don't forget that Over to You is now twice on weekends. It's on both Saturday and Sunday, same time, 7 p.m. sharp. So you guys have a Sunday program to look forward to. All right, but I welcome each and every one of you. I hope that you guys are having a good and productive Saturday thus far. Welcome to the broadcast again. While you guys like the program and share the link, I think we will just go ahead and get started with today's roll call. Let's see who is here this evening. Let's see who is here this evening. Aileen Norton, good evening. Welcome to the broadcast. Marcus Paul, Canarsie, Brooklyn is in the house. Welcome to the broadcast. Sandra Hanover, the freedom fighter. We are both the same. Miss Hanover, we are both freedom fighters, yes. And we do it together right here on Over to You. Puran Ramdas, Region 2, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Region 2 is in the house. Rhonda Tuesday, good to see you. Good evening to you. Eva, good evening. Welcome to the broadcast. Mary Figueroa, the Canadian, first Canadian in the house. Welcome to the broadcast. And John, it's good to see you. Nice U.S. flag you're showing up there. Beautiful. Miss Pam Halls, welcome to the broadcast. Yvonne Rodriguez, I believe this is Barbados. Yes, Barbados is in the house. Good evening to you. Miss Deslyn Wilson, Victoria Village is in the house. Good evening to you. Gavin Caesar, our executive producer, good evening again, sir. Miss Maxine Monroe, is always good to see you. I look forward to your participation this evening. Miss Lorraine Beat, welcome to the broadcast. Miss Audrey Brown, it's good to see you. Welcome to the broadcast. Debbie Apple, welcome to the broadcast. Mr. Rajin Bim, good to see you and welcome to the broadcast. Nigel McKenzie, good to see you. Welcome to the broadcast. Diane Mitchell, Diane Fordyce, good to see you both. Donna Fresno, welcome to the broadcast. Michelle Semple, good to see you. Loretta Argyle, welcome to the broadcast. Karen Clark, good to see you. Welcome. Brenda Henry, good to see you. Welcome also to tonight's broadcast. Francis Rockcliffe, welcome to the broadcast. Mavis Davis Wells, good to see you. Miss Francine Cruz, good to see you. Petra Gordon, good to see you in the house this evening. Linda Marshall Hurst, good to see you. Gail Samuels, Eugene Grant, good to see you both. Lawrence McKenzie, Panoply Hudson, good to see you also. Jennifer Lewis, Waveney Madas Alexander, good to see you. Ewart Eastman, good to see you. Loretta Peters Nicholson, good to see you. Annette Gordon in the house, good evening to you. Jacqueline Johnson, good to see you. And I know there are some people who might be coming in a bit later. All right. Welcome, 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 everyone. Where do we start this evening? Let's go quickly up the east coast of Victoria Village there, where I would have, placed right here and advertised right here that, we had a young 12-year-old Delroy Moses who needed surgery. Just want to update you guys because I know many would have went ahead and contributed. We had everything up, the MMG and the Zelle and everything that was up for this young man that needed this emergency surgery. I just want to update everyone because it's good to show some manners, right? You don't just do these things and then, it's over. Okay, reports from the family. The surgery was successful. Delroy is recovering slowly but surely. The prognosis is very good. All right. So we give all thanks and praise to the Most High, and let's continue to pray for this young man as he recovers. Okay, so we're starting tonight's program with some great news. That's great news for us. Okay. All right. To the Moses family, we have you guys in our prayers. Okay. Good evening, Miss Brenda Braithwaite. Good to see you, Miss Rosemary Martindale Brackett, Miss Denise October, Cheryl Thomas went. I almost marked you absent this evening, but I see that you're in the house. Good to see you. Pleasance is in the house. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, well, we know that we have a very robust prison system in Guyana, right, ladies and gentlemen? All right, where there's poverty, all right, poverty breeds crime, right? And where you have crime, you're going to have a high percentage of individuals, going to prison. All right. When you have a country that the distribution of wealth is not balanced, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to find certain ethnic groups that you're going to find a lot of individuals from that particular ethnic group in the prison system. All right. In the prison system. So we know that there's a high percentage of African Guyanese that are in the prison system. Okay? Because that's the ethnic group that has been facing the brunt of the unequal distribution of wealth. Opportunities are not available to them that are available to other ethnic groups. All right? The economic framework in Guyana, is more so controlled by one ethnic group. We see that, right? Therefore, they have control outside of the party that also the lead party also in government is of that same ethnic group. So therefore, to get a job, right, you don't, for the most part, you're not going to work for someone that looks like you if you happen to be African Guyanese, because not many large-scale businesses in Guyana are owned by African Guyanese. All right. My belief is that that is by design. All right. That is by design. And that's something that needs to change. All right. And going in parliament and fighting for that change, while it is important, I believe that it needs to start at the household and community level. Okay? At the household and community level. Because these battles have been fought in parliament over quite a few years, decades now, and the needle is not moving. So when something is not working, you have to try something else. I'll just say that. But I'm going to quickly jump to the parole board that I would have seen placed up there. Okay, by Newsroom, the parole board. I cannot believe it is that this government is not ashamed to know that Guyana, okay, is a small melting pot. And for you to show a parole board that the ethnic composition is 100% Guyanese of East Indian descent, is it that you are not ashamed of yourself? You should be. If you're not, you should be. Okay? And look, it depicts what Guyana is all about. It's from an ethnic perspective. Guyana is very polarizing. All right? It's not today that we started experiencing this, and that is why the country has been unable to grow the way it should. Okay? Because everybody is looking to get the upper hand. All right? The East Indians are looking to rule the Africans, and the Africans are not taking ruling. And that is right. It shouldn't be anybody ruling anybody. It should be equity for all. It should be fairness across the board for all. Okay? That is what it should be. So, shame on the government for the composition of this parole board. And if I may just pivot quickly also to the Ethnic Relations Commission. That commission, the composition of that commission has one Guyanese of African descent. And that is Comrade Norris Witter. And to what effect, I don't know. I don't know what impact is Norris Witter having on the ERC and the decisions that they make there. Right? I noticed a few of one sitting member of parliament and a few social media talk show hosts is on the most recent ERC list. You're not going to see me there. I believe they know better than that. They know better than that. All right? I don't know why we need an ERC in the first place. All right? Because if they are doing their job and they are really combing through Facebook, the things that I just see on Facebook that comes from PPP supporters, my goodness, that guy, Dr. Prasad, he could say what he's saying, and you guys are not summoning him, but you guys are summoning Norman Brown and Kidaki Amsterdam. Get out of here, please. Get out of here. All right? Get out of here. And Kidaki, I'll say this to you guys. It better be hands off. It better be hands off. Because this is going to get serious. It better be hands off. You guys need to stop this. Okay? You need to cut it out. You're working for the PPP. Everybody know that the ERC is an arm of the PPP. Right? And it's not going to be tolerated. All right? Taxpayers are not paying their taxes for you guys to pay these individuals to be on these commissions to attack voices of dissent. In a democracy, there must be voices of dissent. If you want to call it a democracy, there must be voices of dissent. I don't believe that Guyana is a democracy. Okay? But many wants to call it a democracy, including ambassadors and high commissioners and these people. Maybe they're seeing something that I am not seeing. Or maybe I am seeing something that they're not seeing. Wherever it goes. Okay? But there's no way that Guyana is a democracy. Right? And the Ethnic Relations Commission is going to always be biased favorably to the PPP. Therefore, voices of dissent across Guyana and in the diaspora is always going to be under attack by this commission. I certainly believe that the ERC should be decommissioned and should not exist, because I do not understand the purpose of such a commission, right? Because we see what Guyana is all about, right? We see what Guyana is all about. Everyone says whatever it is that they want to say, but you just want to choose a few and persecute them. And the few happens to be on the side of the opposition. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue, right? The PPP, please work on the composition, please, of the parole board. It doesn't look good. All right? It doesn't represent Guyana and its ethnic groups. It should represent, what Guyana, the composition of the country. All right? I don't believe Guyana is an Indo nation. I believe Guyana has 6 ethnic groups, and let's respect that. All right? We have 6 ethnic groups, and we have a motto also: one people, one nation, one destiny. All right? I don't believe that has changed, and I don't believe that the people have agreed for that to be changed. So let's continue along those lines. All right? Now, this week I find that there was a lot of debate. All right? There was a lot of debate about Lyndon Fort Sampson Burnham. I think we really kicked it off here last weekend on Over to You, man. I hope you guys enjoyed that marathon. That was about 4 hours long, man. I could not believe that I was on for 4 hours. It didn't feel like 4 hours, but nevertheless, we got through it. But it stung very deep, okay? And it hurt. All right, the PPP, it really hurt them. All right, because what we did, we really threw out facts last Saturday. All right, about a great man and his accomplishments. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's be fair. All right, let's be fair. No man is perfect. Of course, there is going to be some flaws in LFS Burnham's work. But my goodness, his accomplishments would have wiped those flaws away. We got to remember that LFS Burnham took charge in Guyana during the Cold War, amongst other things. Right after independence, ladies and gentlemen, right in the middle of that whole transition. That can't be easy. That could never be easy. But he did his best. All right? Now let's pivot back to people like Frederick Kissoon, a well-educated gentleman, thanks to Burnham. Jack Dio got his education, Burnham. All these guys, yet they look to talk down this great man. He's one of the richest men. Look, this guy, look, LFS Burnham was an attorney. He was a lawyer. Okay? He went to law school in London. So we're talking about a very, very smart individual. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when they want to talk about selfish, when they want to talk about racist, when they want to talk about dictator, let's put that to rest. Let's put that to rest tonight. Because Jagdio Ali and these guys, they act like if it's today we knew that Guyana had great oil potential. Burnham and his brother, Dr. Chetty Jagon, they knew this. They knew this. But at that time, the large economies were really overwhelming the small economies. And those two guys were, look, I must say, they were very smart individuals. They were not prepared to give away Guyana for nothing. And that's smart. That is very smart. You see, when everybody want to talk about Burnham, look, you need to use your full brain. Don't use half of your brain. You got to think this thing right through. Because this oil resource that the PPP is getting in their hands now, okay? The revenues from this oil resource that the PPP is getting in their hands right now, and look, they are doing a horrible job. All right? They are really mismanaging this oil resource revenue. They ought to thank Burnham. Because if he went ahead and took deals, they like today, we probably would have still had oil, but minimum amounts. We would have already went over the bell curve. A long time ago, we would have already went over the bell curve. But look, the shrewdness of LFS Burnham, right? He looked at oil and he would have said, here, I have a card that I can play later on. Let's deal with what's in front of us right now. Maybe down the road, a good deal is going to come our way. Right? Down the road, a good deal may come our way. And it is because of that today the PPP have this oil resource, and not even the PPP, Guyana, because the oil belongs to Guyana. It's not working out that way right now for the people. But the oil belongs to Guyana and its people. All right? Again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this. Voting has consequences. All right? And you guys are facing you guys on the ground in Guyana is facing the consequences right now. Don't play about with your democracy. Don't play about with your right to vote. Okay? You played around with that, and that's what you're facing right now. But back to the PPP and their utterances with regards to Burnham. Mark Phillips, whatever little education that you have, because you don't have too much from what I've seen, you must say thanks to LFS Burnham. I don't know how long you made it to brigadier in the army, so you probably was in the army during Burnham time. Hmm? You weren't complaining then. You weren't complaining then. I'm sure you never had white mouth. I'm sure that's a big white lie you're telling. Okay? Because at that time, Guyana was deemed the breadbasket of the Caribbean. So I could see people going hungry. Right? During the time of the Cold War, many would have complained. You know, you have Indo-Guyanese going as far as saying this, that Burnham banned flour to deprive them of making roti. Utter nonsense. So if you just make roti, then the African just make bake. If you just make roti, then the African just make bake. We don't make cake. You need flour for that, right? You guys speak of how Burnham would have banned certain items. But you guys, at the same time, have not spoken of how tremendously rich and how much you would have gained from bringing in contraband. You see how one-sided you guys are? You see how one-sided you guys are? That's who you are. Take a look in the mirror. That is who you are. You brought in the contraband. And you want me to say something to you? I'm going to say it right here. Who was the consumers? The African Guyanese. The same ones that you just still go and get a job, go and get this, and call them all kind of different names. It is them who are your customers, not your own Mati, not your own ethnic group. It is the African Guyanese that has been the consumers across Guyana. When you guys speak, please speak with some measure of clarity. Speak with some measure of truth. Don't come out and bring propaganda to the people. When you're going to speak, speak the truth. LFS Burnham wasn't perfect. But oh my goodness, wasn't he not good? Wasn't he not a great visionary? Ladies and gentlemen, another example. LFS Burnham is horrible. He's bad, right, in their book, right? What kind of politics do we have in Guyana? Is it not winner take all? You all have changed nothing from Burnham. You guys have changed nothing. But yet you choose to talk about a great man. You have changed nothing. You guys haven't shown us that winner take all is bad. Right? Come on, guys. Come on. Let's make sense. All right? Let's start making sense. Because I'm going to say this to you guys. If you guys think that you're moving Guyana forward on an Indo Accord, you got a wrong thought. You might believe that you have some momentum right now. Right? I don't care who goes and sit down with who in Florida. I really don't care about that. It's about Guyana and its people. All right? That it's teetering on 60% of them living in poverty. That's what it's about. So I really don't care who goes and sit down in Florida and where they go and sit down to talk to whom. I don't care. It's about the people. The wealth is not meeting the mouths of our people. All right? But yet, we have ministers opening up apartment buildings and putting up buildings one after the other. You have the Attorney General putting up his little buildings, and everybody, you guys are living off beautifully. You guys are living off beautifully. While the Guyanese people continues to punish. Inflation is not moving anywhere. Cost of living is not moving anywhere. Yet we claim that from a food perspective, Guyana is secure. Right? Guyana is secure. But yet we have children across the country going to bed hungry. Francine Cruz want to know where's the ancestors' land. Francine Cruz, when you talk about our ancestors, they have to be rolling in their grave. All right? Because I believe that our performance has been very poor across the board. We have some people that have done outstanding work fighting. Okay? We have some people, but some people cannot cover for all. We got to look at this thing holistic and across the board. Across the board, we have done a poor job. Okay? A poor job of living up, to the work that living up to the work that our ancestors would have done before us. All right? We have abandoned stuff like farming. We've abandoned a lot of stuff looking at, the horizon and saying, hey, we are in modern times. Right? And that's the stuff that, these type of things is what has put us behind the 8 ball. Because when you abandon farming, you become dependent. Right? You become dependent. Right? You got to hit Mon-Repos market. As you guys can see, Golden Grove market is not being repaired. Golden Grove market must not be attractive for the locals. They must go to Mon-Repos market. Plaisance market must not be attractive. They must go to Mon-Repos market. Until the African Guyanese leaders of the African communities stop selling out their communities and start standing up, that is when we're going to see change. When you guys stop playing under the table and play, at the top of the table where we all can see you guys, all right, that's when things are going to change. All right? You can't do nonsense and expect things to, be successful and your people to be successful. All right? If you work hard, if you do the right thing, all right? What's the saying in the Bible? Righteousness exalts a nation. Righteousness exalts a nation. All right? Don't think that you can do the unrighteous and expect, you understand me, to get good results. All right. Let's continue. BV market is out of commission for decades. Yeah. Yep. BV triumph. Of course. Of course. Mr. Victor Ben, thank you for the amen. Thank you for the amen. I may go ahead and say it again. Righteousness exalts a nation. This is for the PPP. This is for the PPP. Okay? This is for the PPP. Because I don't know why it is I believe, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure a lot of you will align with me on this. Why it is that I believe that the shoes and socks is going to be on the other feet very soon. And the PPP is not going to like the taste of defeat. Before I get to that, let me respectfully say this, ladies and gentlemen. to Miss Tabitha Sarbu Ali, one of the WIN member of parliament. The accusations that you would have made against the APNU, you need to, when you make such accusations, you have to come with your receipts. Please, don't do that. All right? Don't do that. Because what you're doing, you are affecting the electorate when you do that. When you come out, that statement was reckless. It was reckless. Did you see any of those 12 members of parliament that's with APNU negotiating anything or making any decisions with the PPPC? Do you have proof of that? Because when you make such a statement, you got to back that up. Understand this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is politics. All right? This is politics. It is nasty and it is rough. All right, Miss Sarubali, you cannot come to the ball game with your little pink skirt and your little white blouse and know that Guyana got some little dirty black water drainer and water gonna splash up and get on you and all kind of stuff. When you come, you got to go in the trenches, lady, and you got to fight for what you want. At the council level, your councillors, they have to get in there and they got to establish themselves. You can't come and blaming somebody else because you ain't getting a foothold in you know, some village or some region. You can't blame anybody for that. You've got to go back to the drawing board now and you've got to figure out. Come on, you have sat in parliament before, man. You should know this. Don't try to pull down somebody else because you find that you're not making any headway. You're not moving the needle. Right? You can't do that. That's disingenuous, man. You know? With all due respect, that's disingenuous. I believe that you have to come better than that. And why is it that you guys are always attacking APNU? It looks like if that you guys are put in place there to eliminate APNU. And you're just playing a game of disguise. It doesn't look good. The optics doesn't look good. Based on quite a few positions that the WIN party would have taken. So we have to do better, guys. I understand that you guys are a new party, but you guys have a few parliamentarians there from the APNU who would have served in parliament. Please be guided. Please be guided in your statements. And look, I am just speaking objectively here. All right? I am just speaking objectively here. APNU didn't ask me to speak on their behalf, but I saw something and it was quite wrong. Okay, it's wrong. You didn't even bring your receipts. You got to bring your receipts. That statement was reckless. And I would suggest that you walk that back. Right? Because when you don't walk back such statements, there can be repercussions. And when the repercussions come, then you cry foul. You know? When the repercussions come, everybody cry foul. Come on, we have to be more careful. If it is your duty to try to eliminate APNU, I ask that you make your attempts and try to do it a little more gracefully by bringing your receipts. All right? That's all I ask. Or else when you come and you don't bring facts, then I'm going to come on this program and I'm going to pull you up. I don't care who you are. Let's continue, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue. You know, there was a lot of talk. You know, there was a lot of excitement. Let's swear in the opposition leader. Things are going to change. You know, when it's going to be so much more impactful than APNU. Sometimes I like to hold my thoughts because that is absolutely not the case. The needle has not moved. The needle has not moved. The PPP have not even flinched. The PPP does not respect the Win Party. The Win Party is a new party and has to earn their respect. All right? You have to earn your respect. All right? And how do you earn your respect? By mitigating, making blunders like the blunder that Tabitha Sarwali would have just made. You can't make those kind of blunders. All right? It has to be a smooth operation. You're a new party. Get some advice. All right? I know you guys had Comrade Christopher Ram preparing and getting you guys ready to make your presentations during the budget. Well, you guys need to continue soliciting his help. Right? And be more precise with your statements, more accurate with your statements. Let your statements be factual. Okay? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue. Let's continue. 54 minutes after the hour of 7 here, 7 Eastern Standard Time in the US, 6 minutes to 9 in Guyana. We continue. Well, I guess we're all wrapped up now with the budget and budget presentations, amongst other things. We wait to see when there's going to be a cash distribution to the people of Guyana who dreadfully needs it. Pension, 46,000 a month. That's all we have to live with. Look, I believe that all the parties in the opposition, and this has been said before, people have tried to put them together. They have not been able to really coordinate and get everyone on the same page. This person has an appointment here. This person have a meeting here. This person have to check their calendars. Here, I'm going to say this. This coming from Wayne Caesar. You guys need to stop making jokes. You guys need to stop playing joke with the Guyanese people. All right? You need to stop playing around with the lives of these people. You are there for a purpose. I don't care about your business endeavors. All right? You are there to serve the people of Guyana. If you know you couldn't do the job, you should not have taken an oath. Right? If you know that you didn't have the appetite of servitude to serve the people, again, you shouldn't take the oath. All right? These parties has got to get together. They've got to go to Parliament on, as a collective. Right? And they've got to work together to some extent. Right? I don't know how much information they would want to share with each other, because right now, as I look at them, there seems to be a dislike. Right? I saw Comrade Simona Brooms was working hard, trying to bring them and trying to bring everybody together. But everybody, guidance is coming from everywhere. Everybody's talking, but nobody's doing. Right? Nobody's doing. So until we don't have these parties working as a collective, then I guess everything will be at a standstill. And what's quite concerning and what's a major distraction, this whole case with the leader of the opposition, this whole thing is a whole distraction. Nothing is moving. You need an active leader of the opposition in order to move things along. That person has to be active. That person can be trying to be active, when it comes to the people's work, but then has a whole different, have a whole lot of personal issues on the side going on. And that's what's happening. So it's become a real comedy show. It's shameful. It is shameful. It is quite shameful. And then everybody shouting out persecution when the PPP attack. No. What the PPP is doing to these people is what the PPP has been doing to its own citizens for decades. And nobody has seen that. Is now everybody crying persecution? No, it ain't no persecution. It's business as usual. You're just getting the medicine of what the Guyanese people has been getting for decades. It's business as usual. So nobody should be crying foul. Right? No one should be crying foul. Normal business. Normal business. That's why you have to come together and work. That's why you have to come together and work together. Peter Gibbs is saying, Wayne, it's a puppet show. It's a puppet show. Yes, it is. And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to excuse me a little bit for hitting this point, but I'll just hit it high level and keep it moving. I'm not going to stick on it. All right? I'm going to just hit it quickly, high level, and keep it moving. Listen, when you're a public figure, ladies and gentlemen, and you're a member of parliament, or you're somewhere up the hierarchy in public life, you're no longer answerable to yourself. You're answerable to the people also. You think I could just walk out and go and make myself an idiot out there? And then when I'm finished, come and say that I'm hosting over to you? You guys will quickly turn and tell me, get out of here. Look what you was just doing a few hours ago, a few days ago, and you want to come on here and say that you're speaking to people. All right? So, when you are a public figure and you're out there in the public eyes, you are answerable to the people. All right? I just want to speak quickly on the glitch that I saw that would have occurred on MASH Day with the photo ops. That wasn't good. And I hope that everyone who was in the photo would admit that that was an error. Because what I'm going to say here, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot be in parliament hollering, screaming, and cursing and fighting. All right? And then when you're finished, you're hugging up, kissing up, and, with all due respect to those members of parliament, and I respect them all. But the optics of that photo, And let me further say this, ladies and gentlemen. If the opposition parties decide to start writing human rights organization and all these different organizations concerning the behavior and the posture of this PPP government, you know what they're going to do? They're going to pull those same photos and they're going to send them and say, what are they talking about? Look, this is us and the opposition together. What are they speaking of? They are speaking of sheer untruth, and they would have their receipts right there. You went and you took out photos with them. Right? I am not saying that politics should be a hate game. But listen, when we pick a fight, we have to stick with the fight. You understand me? This is about the Guyanese people. This government has been ill-treating the people. The resources of the country is not meeting the people. There's a lot that is wrong with this government. All right? The injustices meted out to the Guyanese people. The thousands of unsolved crimes in Guyana, amongst other things. So you can't go and hug up and kiss up with this regime. This is a regime. Right? All decisions is made solely by the PPP. The PPP does not engage the opposition for anything. They control the economic infrastructure. Look at the parole board, good example. Look at the ERC, good example. Look at the Guyana Elections Commission, another example. Look at the Guyana Police Force. Look at the Guyana Defense Force. These people control every single thing. Everything. There's nothing in Guyana, nothing of importance in Guyana that is independent of the PPPC. Hence the reason I say that any resistance to this government and their behavior must start at the home and then to the community level, then to the village level and the regional level, and that's how you go. You got to start small and then grow this out. You cannot compete with them financially. They have everything. You have nothing. And why is it, ladies and gentlemen, you see? And this is where sometimes people, they bumps raise and they want to get upset with me. But this just don't happen like this overnight. This is failure on behalf of the leaders. And when I say failure on behalf of the leaders, I'm not speaking of Comrade Norton. He just got here. He just got here. He just got a frying pan with no bottom. This happened over decades. This happened over decades. But what happened? And look, hey, look, I'm going to even blame myself a little bit. I'm going to blame, I wasn't in Guyana. You know, I left Guyana, you know, really young. But what I'm going to say is that what happened over decades is that we failed to build the cat. We failed to build the cat. We allowed the cat to grow spoil. Now today, it's so difficult now. It is so difficult now. It's difficult, ladies and gentlemen. But don't get down on yourselves because it's not impossible. It's not impossible. We still have quite a few cards that we can play. But it is up to the leaders. It's not up to me. But I still see cards that we can play. All right? It depends on how, uncorrupt the leaders are and how willing they are to actually serve the people, serve their constituency. And look, I got to say this. I got to really say this tonight. I got to give a big, big, big kudos to all those individuals who would have voted APNU this past election. And all those who would not have voted APNU, but has now pivoted that way because they now see the light. I'll still give you some credit. You didn't vote right, but next time make sure you do the right thing. I'm going to say one thing to the APNU here now. Do not hire any lobbying firm. Don't do it. Don't do it. Keep your politics in Guyana. Guyanese, if you're smart, you want to keep your politics in your country. You don't want other people to make decisions for you. You see, this is what I talk. A lot of people, whenever they go to speak on any matter, what they do, they ask you, come and bring research. What happened? Where is your brain? Are you unable to think? You know, I'm not saying that research from time to time is not needed, but are you unable to think? You know, are you just locked in on using another man's or woman's work? You should be able to come to the table with your own thoughts, with your own analysis. Okay? What worked in 1970 and in 1960 will not necessarily work today. All right? We have to study the situations that are before us. Maybe there may be a similar case from the past that you may want to bring in, but many times that is just not the case, or a part of a case that may apply. All right? Let's start using our ability to think and analyze. Look, I see my friend here, Brother Austin Ogle. On a later program, expand and possibly expose the strategy used to have the likes of Witter as head of the ERC, but affecting their agenda. It's a real problem that needs addressing. Absolutely, Austin. Absolutely. Norris Witter, I believe, or still he is just being planted in there so that we can say here, they can't complain. Here is an African Guyanese on the commission. I believe so. I believe that that's the case. But I'm on tomorrow. We can expound on that. I'll do that tomorrow. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 8:09 Eastern Standard Time here in the US. 9:09 on the ground, downtown Georgetown, Guyana. Ladies and gentlemen, we talk about development. We talk about development, and you guys had to really come together, and everybody had to come together and donate for this young man's surgery. There was no real move, no swiftness from the government to get anything done. You know, they drag their feet like everything else. It's the same way they do with the national athletes who are doing such a good job out there, but not being recognized by this government. You know, it's funny. It's funny where we have come today. I was going through Facebook and I saw a few people was posting with regards to school sports and these type of things. You know, that was a real pastime. That was real Guyana then. You know, you go to sports, you do all this stuff. You got mass games, you got all these different things. Not 16-year-old getting shot by businessmen and they're posting it up big in papers. You know, little girl going to hotel to just take a little swim and then showing up a day after, floating in pool and all this kind of stuff. We're not accustomed. That kind of stuff is traumatizing to us. We don't know anything about that. Yet you guys want to talk about Burnham? Really? Really? Young man in the agricultural area with an AR-15 going and shoot up house? Come on. What are you guys talking about? What is the PPP talking about? All those extrajudicial killings and all of that under which PNC? Not Burnham. And ain't no minister building no high rise and having no apartment building under Burnham. What are you guys really talking about? Man, look, the PPP are the biggest thieves I've ever come across, man. All right? And in closing this program, I really want to jump back quickly to the ERC and their list. Oh, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, did you guys see Leno Craig on that list? The slime up man? When you talking about slime up and all of the red shirt on the chair and Jack Dio laughing in the background and all, you think Jack Dio didn't have a plan for you? See what the PPP do? They kick you in a dirty drain, now the ERC serve you up. Kick you in a dirty drain, now the ERC serve you up, Leno. But anyhow, I don't have time with Leno. The ERC could do whatever they want to do with Leno. That's their people. My focus is Kedaki Amsterdam, Norman Brown, and Shama Raheem Solomon. Back up, guys. All right? Back up. Take a seat. Those are voices of dissent. Leave them alone. Allow them the latitude to say what needs to be said. All right? And Comrade Norris Witter, I do respect you. I do respect you. But I must say to you, grab a backbone. Okay? Grab a backbone quickly and stand up for your people. All right? Because everybody on that ERC board outside of you, they're standing up for theirs. So you need to do the same for yours. All right? Or else we will look at you in a different light. We will look at you in a different light. It's not a threat. It's a promise. Simple. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 30 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. We are coming up here on program time. Let me get this quick from Miss Casey. Miss Casey, with hiring the lobbying firm, right? What's essentially happening is that monies are taken out of our country to pay U.S. lobbying firms, right? When we have our own people down on the ground in Guyana who are punishing, right? I believe that our people will be, I want to believe that our people are going to be educated enough to understand that the party that is not taking the lobbying form, that is focusing on them and their needs, that will be the party that you would want to vote for. Right? Lobbying firms, when you pick lobbying firms, let's say you have three, all right, the APNU got one, WIN has one, and the PPP has one. Those lobbying firms could collect all the money out of Guyana and then get over here in the States, and they can all collude together. And they'll make the decision as to which party is going to be in government. That means that the decision as to who is going to be in government is not being made when the Guyanese people go to the polls, but it is being made in the United States of America. We don't want that. That shouldn't be. That should not be. Right? The PPP get into this whole lobbying firm, get into this whole thing with lobby because they're the first one that started it. Because they needed to stay in power. The lobbying firms, they create the optics favorably to the PPP. That is where we have to look. Our counter to the optics that is created by these lobbying firms is to educate our people how to deal with these things. We have to educate our people. All right, let's say APNU hire a lobbying firm, they still have to educate these people. They are behind. They are short thinking. They think about the dollar today. They don't think about the dollar 10 years from now. They're not thinking of their children and future generations. And that's where we need people to start thinking. What is the future of Guyana going to look like? It is not promising thus far. I'll leave on that note for tonight. But Miss Casey, we can pick up on this conversation. You know that we can further this conversation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now 8:17. We have come to the end of tonight's broadcast. Please do remember to join me right here tomorrow, 7 p.m. sharp, for another program of Over to You. Yes, Jillian Solomon, we'll address the voters list tomorrow. We'll address the voters list tomorrow. We're going to address the ERC. We're going to address the voters list. And maybe we could talk a little more about these lobbying firms tomorrow. And probably some new topics we'll throw in there. All right. Thank you so much, Miss Rita Clark. All right, until tomorrow. I almost said next Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me for that. Until tomorrow. This is Saturday, guys. If you're going out, if you're down on the ground in Guyana, you're going out to a club or anything else, again, I urge you guys to have your own house parties. Don't go out there and spend up all your money. Have your own house parties. Be careful in the highways and byways. You're the motorist. You're behind the wheel. Make sure you're not drunk, man. Don't drink and drive. Have a safe night if you're gonna be out. If you're gonna be in, enjoy yourself with your family. I hope you grab some popcorn for tonight's program and leave back some for tomorrow night's program. Until tomorrow night, take care of yourself. Love you, love you, love you. Over to you. Good night.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours of blackout and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%. Get your give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the.
I used to go to a supermarket in Linden known as the Co-op Crescent Supermarket. Used to be run by the government. Let me talk. There was nothing in the supermarket beyond rice and sugar. Whenever they bring the supply of the other